In this video, we are talking all about Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters potentially coming to Universal Orlando. We're also going to talk about that new Tiana animatronic that Disney dropped today. We have a lot to discuss here. We got Slimer, Theme Park Wizard, and of course the Italiano joining me today. We're going to talk shop on OG 55. What is going on? We have a lot to discuss today. We got Ghostbusters possibly coming to Universal. We're gonna play this theme park stop Alicia Stella video. We're gonna play it and react to it along the way. It's gonna be really, really interesting. And we're also gonna talk about this Tiana animatronic that Disney released some video on today as well. So, you know, we have so much to talk about today. So let's get the party started. We're gonna hit the ground running. All right, boys. So let's go ahead and we're going to start off with this Ghostbuster stuff. I know you're really disappointed, Slimer, to start off with the Ghostbuster stuff. I know it's not really your thing, but, you know. Take one for the team, brother. Take one for the team. Here we go.
If I must, I must.
One of Universal Studios Florida's opening day properties may be heading home, as new rumors suggest the company might have relicensed the Ghostbusters. With a new parade expected to feature classic film franchises on the horizon, along with a bigger lagoon show and more, it's possible we could see proton packs and ghost traps back in action. But could a new ride, or even the return of the Spooktacular show, be in the cards as well? Let's go over all of this and more in today's news update. A special effects show named Ghostbusters Spooktacular was one of Universal Studios Florida's opening day attractions. Running only from 1990 to 1996.
Okay, so I gotta ask you, Slimer. I know Wizard is way too young for this, but
why is he born?
Exactly. So Slimer, have you seen this show?
Oh yeah, I've seen the show many times. I actually
on day one.
Yeah, I was there opening year. I remember it kind of vividly. It was a rainy day, and there wasn't a lot of people there. But yeah, I remember it very vividly. I tell you, Universal in the 90s was like, if you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, it was a dream. Because they had Back to the Future, they had King Kong, they had, Ghostbusters, Jaws. It was a playground for 80s kids. This was actually a really cool show because it was a combination of the Pepper's Ghost effect and actual practical effects. So the dogs, Stay Puffed would all be real, but then Slimer and then some of the other ghosts would all use the Pepper Ghost effects, to include the proton streams that were coming out of the Ghostbusters proton packs. Real funny, fun. And then at the very end, there's actually two versions of the show, but at the very end of the show, when they would cross the streams to kill Stay Puft, a whole bunch of steam would hit your face, and then the show would end, and then they would come back on stage like you see here, where they, they do a bow and they say goodbye to the audience. But it was a really cool show. And then after you left the show, it would take you right into the Ghostbusters gift shop. And in there, they had the real Ghostbuster toys. They had mannequins with the proton packs on them, which was like the only opportunity in the world where you actually could see a proton pack in real life. And then they also had the Ecto-1 right outside. And if the Ghostbusters weren't there, they were riding around in their Ecto-1.
Dude, that's amazing. I remember as a kid, I was real into the real Ghostbusters cartoon. And I mean, I had all the toys. I had, like, remember the slime they would sell?
Oh man, did you fling it around in your house too, man? I used to put on the lampshades. I used to put it everywhere, dude.
I would throw that stuff around, man. Hey, that was amazing. The toys for real Ghostbusters were like top tier, like some of my favorites. And just so people are aware too, when Simon talked about the Pepper's Ghost effect, when you go on Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, like when you see the ghosts in like the ballroom scene, that's a Pepper's Ghost. So they were using a similar effect here with the Ghostbusters stage show. So yeah, great stuff, really cool stuff.
The Ghostbusters themselves continue to make appearances in the park in the years following the show's closure. A couple street shows featuring various Ghostbusters characters as well as Beetlejuice ran through 2005. nearly 2 decades later, and there are now rumors that this franchise may return home to Universal Studios Florida, and in many different forms. The Universal Superstar Parade ended in May 2022, after 10 years of operation. Universal has only said that this parade ended to make way for new entertainment experiences, but has still not released any details at this time. It is rumored that a new parade could be coming as soon as this summer in 2024. Universal has not yet announced a name for the parade, but they did file a trademark application for the name Universal Mega Movie Parade. This possible name fits with rumors for the new parade. Unlike the former Superstar Parade, which featured mainly only kids' properties, this parade is expected to also include classic Universal film franchises and retro Universal Studios Florida properties. In addition to some new...
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a really good idea. I've said many times on the channel, I love old school Universal. Back to the Future, Jaws. If they make a whole parade of that... sign OG up. I'm there. What about you, George? What are you feeling? Would you like that kind of parade, like with some of these retro properties, or would you prefer like what they got here with the Minions and things like that?
Absolutely. I believe it or not, I connect well with Universal when it was back like with the old school classic studios with like with the Ghostbusters, with Back to the Future, with Jaws, with King Kong. With Fievel's Playland, Rocky and Bullwinkle, like those were the Nickelodeon studios. Like that to me was like the creme de la creme of like the Universal Studios. It's not that I don't enjoy it now, but I mean like I have a much deeper appreciation of how had Slimer had said like from the 80s and the 90s, like that real like retro Universal Studios is like so to kind of bring that back. I would welcome it in any odd shape or form, because even like with some of the merchandise that they have, like when they have like those classic neon Universal Studios signage with the shark and King Kong, and it's like I love that, man. It's like to take me back to that time era.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm telling you, and at Universal Hollywood, they sell some of the old school stuff. Like you can buy ET merch. And actually, the ET merch is on point. It's really, really cute. What about you, Wizard? What do you feel? Are you feeling this idea of this new parade? You know, in terms of classic Universal, or do you kind of prefer like the newer stuff, like what we're seeing here with the Minions and things like that?
Well, that'd be kind of hard for him because first he'd actually have to like Universal.
I know. Just pretend for a moment, Wizard, that you like Universal.
Let me just put my feelings aside. I think it could be pretty cool because, especially because using today's technology, like using it with the old retro stuff, like a massive King Kong animatronic or something, or big massive puppets that they have. They made so much advancements in the parades from Disney and Universal and all the theme parks around the world from the 80s to now. I think a cool parade with all the retro properties with the cool technology, like maybe they can, show like something coming out of the Ghostbusters, what do you call them? Guns? I'm calling them guns.
The proton packs.
There you go. Proton packs is that like spew you, maybe like you're the ghost and try to get you, and then like some green slime comes out. Get you. I feel like it'd be a really cool interactive parade, almost like the Pixar Play Parade was, like the Bugs Land segment when the water would come shoot everywhere. I feel like that could be a cool interactive element to this parade. So I think this could be really something special.
It could be, yeah, absolutely. When I was a kid, I would watch Back to the Future 2, and I would be like in awe over that movie with the hoverboards and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
we're about the same age. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like, if they incorporate some of that stuff into this, right? Like Back to the Future, and maybe some of the performance, the performers on the parade route, they're like on like little hoverboards and things. I mean,
that'd be really cool. Like,
that'd be dope. I mean, there's a lot of potential here. I think it's a smart idea. I mean, we'll see if this pans out, but I really like it.
Kid-friendly characters, some of the classic properties that are rumored to be featured in the new parade include Back to the Future, Jaws, E.T., Jurassic Park, and Ghostbusters. One element that has been rumored to be for this parade will be a recreation of the Ecto-1 vehicle as seen in the Ghostbusters films. Reporting out of Fairmont, West Virginia says that an icon of a local car wash, an original 1959 Cadillac, was recently sold to Universal Studios after the location's closure. Well,
Slimer, you just mentioned this on a recent show we did, I believe, about how
Yeah.
Universal just bought this vehicle.
Yeah, that actually broke news about a week ago.
That's interesting. So they're gonna like, retrofit this thing and make it look like the Ecto One.
Yeah, which I find kind of weird because they used to have one. So that begs the question: what did they do with it? A lot of this stuff probably gets put into storage and probably never sees the light of day again, or they just let it sit out of the sun and it just rots after the decades. It's most likely the latter, because at one point they actually used to have what was called the movie graveyard. And the movie graveyard was this small area. I believe it was in front of Rip Ride Rocket, where Rip Ride Rocket is now. So right in front of Rip Ride Rocket, they have like a lawn picnic seating area. And I think it was there, if I'm not mistaken. But they used to have movie props there. They used to have everything from Mad Max to Terminator to Lethal Weapon. Every movie that Universal Studios was involved with, they had some kind of a prop there.
Nice.
And all that stuff that was there either got auctioned off, or, it's one of those situations where it sits in a studio backlot, that just decomposes over time. So I'm kind of curious what happened to the original car, because it was decked out perfectly like the movie.
Yeah.
But they even had the second movie car there at one point too, from Ghostbusters 2. And that one's got the yellow and black caution stripes and the tank on the top and the different colored lights and things like that. So who knows where that stuff goes, but it looks like they're going to have to start from scratch.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. And speaking of this time period, a shameless plug, we're actually going to do a Story Geeks very soon with Jay Shear about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Secret of the Ooze. We're breaking down.
How random is that?
I'm telling you. It's going to be awesome, though. It's going to be awesome.
Reporting has not disclosed how this vintage vehicle will be used. The owner was told that it would be converted into a replica Ecto 1 and be used within the Orlando theme parks in some way. So many believe it'll become part of this new parade. Now, a new parade is not the only thing rumored to debut later this year, as Universal Studios Florida is also working on a brand new lagoon show. Once again, Universal has not revealed any details for this new show, including when it might be starting, but rumors suggest that it will be a bigger, grander version of the last show, which itself did feature at least one classic property, E.T. This new iteration of the show is rumored to include more classic properties, which may include Ghostbusters. This larger scale lagoon show is expected to feature taller show fountains, more pyro, and, according to rumors, perhaps even drones. Water drainage permits for the lagoon show enhancements show a new structure being constructed on the New York side of the lagoon, including several new projectors. The one-story building being built as part of this project is shown in permit images, which may be for a new show control building, but the plans do not specify. To go along with this new parade and lagoon show, both rumored to feature the Ghostbusters, there's yet another rumor for the summer at Universal Studios.
You know what this tells me? And Wizard, you're the Universal guy. I want to kind of I want to pose this question to you. Mm-hmm. I know that Ghostbusters is not technically a Universal IP, but it definitely feels like one. And I think this is a really smart move to kind of lean into Ghostbusters. Absolutely. But do you think this kind of like shows confidence in because Ghostbusters, they're when's that movie coming out, Slimer? The new one?
Next month.
Next month, yeah, next month.
Next month. If these rumors are true, what Alicia knows her stuff when it comes to Universal, so I'm sure they are. It kind of seems like Universal is bullish on Ghostbusters as an IP, and they feel like this film is going to do very well. But what do you think, Wizard? I mean, you hear a lot of stuff. Is this kind of like the mindset maybe at Universal that they feel confident in this property right now?
I haven't heard anything, but it seems so, because I've been wanting to see Afterlife for the longest time, and I still have to watch that before I catch up on watch the new one. But it looked good to me, and certainly better than the other one from all the girls in it. Not that all the girls aren't that bad, but it's just that quality of that one didn't look, let's get this Afterlife. So and I like the actors. And it's a Paul Rudd, woohoo! But so I think that because it's going to be a trilogy, probably I assume. So I feel like they think there's some longevity here, and kind of goes back to classic vibes and kind of fits in, like you said, with that classic Universal, even though it's not Universal, but that kind of fits in with the Jaws and the ETs of the time, because it's kind of like back in that time frame, but like now. So I think they have some big plans for Ghost, or it seems like they do, and hopefully they'll get some on the West Coast too with something.
And if I could actually add on, and I think what's great about Ghostbusters being added to a type of a parade or like a nighttime show or what have you, and this is the one thing that is sets aside Ghostbusters, I think, that a lot of people you know it's there, but you don't really think about. And there's certain films, for instance, OG, like you had mentioned, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Secret of the Ooze. The reason why that movie, I get drawn to movies like that, such as that with Ghostbusters, and even Beverly Hills Cop, it's the soundtrack. And it's like it's the score. It's like, so when you think of Ghostbusters, honestly, the first thing I think of is the soundtrack and the score.
Yeah,
and it's like, especially with Ghostbusters 2, when you have, and I know a lot of people have like certain opinions on him, but like with Bobby Brown, and it's like, oh man, it's like it fits so well like with the film, and it's like, so to incorporate that in a parade and a nighttime show, and you add the soundtrack to that, oh man, that's perfect.
A lot of times, George, it's the music that sticks with you, right? Like before we do our Story Geeks with Jay about the Secret of the Ooze, I'm going to rewatch the movie. Obviously, it's been like 30 years, but the thing I do remember is "Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go, Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go." The music sticks with you sometimes. I don't remember a thing about the movie. But the music, I can do the song. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely.
Florida.
And didn't Slimer, didn't Ghostbusters 2 have a rap as well, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, I
like
did.
The theme song?
Yeah. Bobby Brown did do like a hip hop version of a new Ghostbusters song. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Real quick before I press play, E.T. is like so ugly that he's almost cute. He comes full
I
circle.
know. Right. He's like poor little skinny fat guy. I don't know what he is, but I mean, look at him. He's kind of cute.
He's kind of cute, man. He's ugly, but he's cute. It's weird.
Some folks believe that this year's summer tribute store could also feature the Ghostbusters as one of the themed rooms. One rumor that has been picking up steam is for the return of a Ghostbusters Halloween Horror Nights house. After seeing a haunted house based on the original film at the event in 2019, rumors suggest this new house, possibly for 2024, could be based on the newer film series. These events and entertainment rumors are not the only stirrings when it comes to Ghostbusters. It's rumored that there has been a desire in recent years to bring a full-blown attraction based on this franchise to the Universal Orlando theme parks. One of the rumored concepts for the tech behind such a ride may have ended up being utilized for Villain Con Minion Blast. With the Luigi's Mansion interactive ride now rumored for Epic Universe, which would likely be very similar to an interactive Ghostbusters ride, perhaps a different sort of attraction could be developed instead. One rumored concept would be for the return of a special effects show based around the Ghostbusters. This would be built at Universal Studios Florida, but no word if it would be similar to the original live show, which utilized a Pepper's ghost effect to make it look as though ghosts were interacting with live actors, or if this would be a completely new type of show concept. It certainly seems as though Universal
This is interesting. So, Wizard, you're like, what are you hearing? Like, are you hearing like any murmurs on the street about like what kind of attraction this might be if they do build it? Like,
I'm very little. The only thing I heard so far besides that show thing there was that Sony wanted to swap out Men in Black for Ghostbusters, so they just reskin them because they're both Sony. So like Sony, I guess themselves, they wanted to swap it out since they have the new movies coming out, and Men in Black because they have movies coming out. That's the only thing I heard so far. It would make sense because they're both shooting rides. So if they wanted to swap it out, if Sony wants that, then
and if they did do that, I mean, I would still love to see like a better up-to-date version with it with the Ghostbusters, but just the notion that if they were to get rid of Men in Black and put in Ghostbusters, I'm okay with that. I would prefer Ghostbusters over Men in Black anyway. But before we continue on, this is actually Rick Moranis's real life reaction of the Ghostbusters returning to Universal Studios.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I miss Rick Moranis so much. Like he kind of dropped off, right? He quit acting, I guess, and he hasn't really been in anything. But dude, he was great in this. He was great in Honey I Shrunk the Kid audience. I mean, audience. Honey I Shrunk the Kids. I'm sorry. That franchise, even Little Shop of Horrors. Really, really, really great actor. And I don't know. I wish he would get a little more active in the industry because pretty cool.
Tends to fully utilize the property in the park, especially if they have actually re-signed a licensing contract after all this time. I wouldn't be surprised to see regular meet and greets with the Ghostbusters to return to the park, along with some of these other rumored
So
concepts.
if we could pause it and talk
the
about the
very
ride
least-
concept real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So one thing that I don't think they're going to do is I don't think they're going to do a show again. I don't think Universal Creatives is going to revisit something that they've already done. And I think that they're going to be more interested in exploring creatively a new concept. What I was thinking they might do, and I think that this is probably the most likely case, is they'll do an augmented reality 2.0 version of what they have going on over with Mario Kart, where when you put on the mask, it's like ecto goggles, and your ecto goggles are the augmented reality device. And then when they give you the gun, you're engaging these augmented reality ghosts that are floating around in your vision while you're driving the Ecto one throughout New York. Maybe boost up the speed a little bit so that way it seems a little bit faster. I know that's one of the complaints people have with the Mario Kart ride is that it's not thrilling enough, right? Like a lot of people think that a Mario Kart ride should be thrilling, and it kind of lacks that aspect. But then there's some people that say that once you're on it, it actually works and it synchronizes in a way that is convincing. So I think they'll go that route. The reason that I think that Sony's getting away from Men in Black has to do with how poorly Men in Black, Men in Black International did. Even though it was a really good movie, I quite enjoyed that film. I thought it was really good. The fact that it performed underwhelming, I think, goes to show that Men in Black as a Sony property that they can lean on is dormant. I wouldn't say it's dead. There's always a possibility to come back. Never
30 years.
But they could always bring it back in 10, 20 years, the same way they did with Ghostbusters.
Yeah, no, that's the augmented reality thing. I really like that, Slimer. I think that there's something to that because, like you said, they've already had the technology with Mario Kart, and I actually, you mentioned the speed with Mario Kart. I actually ate a little bit of crow. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Before, and Wizard knows this. Before that ride came out, I'm like, what is Universal doing, man? Like they're building a racing ride that's fucking slow. Like, come on now. I gotta say though, when you're on it. There's an effect. The way they do it, you do feel like you're going faster than you actually are, and it's pretty effective. I actually really like that right now, George. I know you weren't that impressed with that one, right?
Not really. But here's the thing. As far as the ride goes, I love a lot of the actual props. That was very impressive to me, and it wasn't actually the fact of the speed. I had a lot of the issue with the VR aspects of it. It feels like that it's kind of like just floating in dimensional space where it feels like it's not like connecting with the track and it's not connecting with the props around you. That's really my biggest criticism with that ride.
Yeah.
But as far as like
to see them because they're like above me, not to look up, but then when I look up, I'm not looking at the track, so I feel like I'm lost. So I have a problem with that. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, that and then of course like you have to what do you have to do like with your head? You have to move your head a certain way to like.
And that's what I'm saying. That I'm like they're up here, I have to shoot them, but then my shells are down here, so I can't see how many I have left. So I have to go up and down, and then I'm like, I get lost. I'm like,
it's like it took me years to get down the patting of my head and rubbing on my stomach. It's like so much is going on right now. But as far as like the actual aesthetics of the attraction with the actual props and everything, along with the whole Super Nintendo world, is very impressive. And I have to say, for the short amount of space that Universal Hollywood has, I'm very impressed of how they actually fit that in there.
Well, it's a really cute
that is
land.
one bad thing too when you have the AR on. You can't see all the cool animatronics that are out in the ride. You have to like ride it with the glasses off, which I did, and it's quite enjoyable. It's like really dark right then. But when you have all that stuff on, it's really hard to see all the cool, like you said, all the cool effects and
Yes, so it just came to the time when I was riding the ride. I was like, "Fuck it!" I took the headset off, and I'm just like looking at everything like around me. That's all I cared about. I didn't.
Hey, it's still pretty enjoyable that way. I did that a couple times.
Yeah, and I have to say, like the set pieces are really good. Like one of my favorite dark rides actually at Disneyland is Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, and I will honestly say, it's amazing. And I honestly think that the set pieces for Mario Kart are really on par with what we see in Roger Rabbit. So really great stuff there. Now, hopefully, this is kind of like the silver lining though with Mario Kart is that the issues that I think most people have with it, like you were saying, George, and even Wizard, is the AR, which that technology is
that can be updated eventually and stuff. Yeah, so
exactly, it's
especially
upgradable.
if they do like a Men in Black, like Slammer saying. By the time that opens, it'll probably be like version 3 of whatever. So it'll probably look super clear and be pretty
Exactly. So it's interesting. But now the Luigi's Mansion thing, which I think is a brilliant concept because you're bringing Luigi into the fold for Super Nintendo World, or and to go through that mansion and to do that kind of thing would be amazing. I wonder what kind of technology have you heard anything, Wizard, about the Luigi's Mansion tech? Is it going to be AR?
I'm not sure. I think it may. I think that would be more like Buzz Lightyear type of thing. Not sure if there'll be an AR aspect, but I felt like it'd be more Toy Story, more Buzz Lightyear type than AR focused.
Or it kind of like the what is it? The Monsters Inc.
Ride
like that Ride and Go Seek.
That'll be kind of like that. I think that's the idea.
Okay, cool.
I bet we see the triumphant return of the Ghostbusters sign to its rightful place right here on the front of the firehouse in the New York section of Universal Studios, Florida. That's all for now, but be sure to stay tuned as we should have some new...
So, real quick, I just want to give a big shout out to Theme Park Stop and Alicia Stella. A great video. She is a wealth of information in regards to everything Universal. So definitely give her a subscribe, or them a subscribe over at Theme Park Stop. Follow her on Twitter, Alicia Stella. If you're into Universal and you're not following Alicia Stella, I don't know what's going on.
And what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, before we move on to Tiana, though, any final thoughts on this Ghostbuster news? Like, I think we all kind of agree that it's like a positive move, but like anything you guys want to add to it before we move on?
Yeah, I think the Universal starting to realize that they created brand customers for life with their properties in the 1990s. I think that it's just taken this long to remember it. And I don't understand why, because people have been asking them to bring back the iconic attractions for so long. I mean, it's been decades now. We've been asking them to bring back some iteration. And they give you little nuggets, like they do the Legacy store over at Universal City Walk, which is now closed. They would, reintroduce Back to the Future and Jaws and Psycho into the Tribute store, which has been extremely popular year over year during the Halloween Horror Night time. But now Universal Studios is going full on committal with the legacy icons, because at this point, I don't think that they can deny the Universal fan base the legacy attractions anymore. They see dollar signs. I think that they've heard the message. The message has been consistent for so long that now they're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're bringing back those popular attractions, because now that they're OG's age, they're my age, they're the expendable income adults now.
Right.
And so there's so much more merchandising abilities. I mean, Ghostbusters is one of the most merchandisable IPs of all time. That's up there with Harry Potter, Star Wars, Nintendo. I mean, the Ghostbusters logo is, it's recognizable anywhere in the world. You see the logo anywhere, it's Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So the merchandising opportunities they're there for Universal Studios. And again, it's, if they can find that nice blend of new and old by bringing in DreamWorks and Pokemon, and then tie it in with the old stuff, I think that Universal Studios Florida is going to finally become a fully fledged park, because that's the one thing that's been lacking for a while. and I think everybody knows it, including Universal Studios. But that's one of the reasons that it's an often criticized park, because of its inability to find an identity or to stick with something and just roll with it, as opposed to just changing every 5 to 7 years and then confusing everybody as to what kind of a park it is.
You bring up a great point, Slimer, where like Universal is sort of starting to figure out like the classic Universal stuff. There's money there, right? We see it with Epic Universe, like the Dark Universe thing. They're doubling and tripling down on the old Universal monsters. And that land looks really, really dope from what we're seeing. It looks really, really cool. So yeah, even Epic Universe, they're going all in on classic Universal. So somewhere along the line, Universal said, "Hey, wait a minute, there's money to be made here. Let's tap into this a little bit." I think it's a smart idea because, like you said, Slimer, like us old fogies, this is our Universal. You know what I'm saying? The monsters, the Ghostbusters, things like that. I think it's smart to tap into that audience. And then, like you said, you can have the Minions for like the younger kids and all that, the younger generations. But you want it. That's one thing that Disney does really well, right? Is that if from 8 to 80, there's something for everybody. Like you go to Disneyland and your grandmother loves the Snow White ride, but some of the IP, maybe the newer IP like Tiana or like Tangled is more for like the younger kids. It really kind of caters to everybody. I think Universal, with tapping into these classic Universal IP, they're kind of doing what Disney does, where it's like you have a little something for everybody, right? The young kids, okay, How to Train Your Dragon, Minions, all that stuff. But then the older generation like us, oh man, the monsters, and Ghostbusters. I mean, that's our jam. So it's a smart move. So,
and OG, you said there's money to be made here?
Yeah, there's definitely
money.
Money. That deserves a double money. Here we go.
Brand new money, brand new hundreds, got a bunch of zeros like a bag of new Funyuns.
There we go. Universal's looking at that, looking at all those zeros like a bag of Funyuns. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when George and I were at Universal Studios a couple weeks ago, that was one of the standouts of that theme park, is how well balanced it is between adult attractions and attractions for kids, because they had everybody, they had something for everybody there, whether it was a thrill ride, a slow ride, a kids ride, a spectacle, a sing along. I mean, that park is really, really well balanced and really fleshed out nicely. So if they can achieve something like that, I mean, Hollywood Studios is a working model of that. So if they can achieve anything close to that, then then they're in business.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Now, Wizard, before we move on to Tiana, any Universal Hollywood stuff on your mind that you want to share?
As you mentioned the classic stuff, because this year is the 60th anniversary, so they're gonna bring some, I don't know what it is, but lots of entertainment, and they're gonna dress up the trams like they did back in the 1960s with the glamour tram. So I'm curious what kind of classic properties and shows, because there's lots of shows and stuff. I wonder if those meet and greets for Ghostbusters will come over here too. Like, I'm curious. It's gonna all happen in spring and summer, so I'm curious what kind of classic stuff and shows they'll bring here. That could be a good little bi-coastal opportunity. And with the classic monsters, it was announced today that the City Walk is getting a classic dark Universal Monster tribute store, so that'll be pretty cool. So pretty cool to see some classic stuff make our way to the West Coast too.
Yeah, at least for summer. Now, are they going to call it the Glam Tram or no?
I think they are. Yeah, they're supposed to dress them up like the Glam Tram, so they might as well probably. And there's going to be like a 60th anniversary banner on the arch or something. So
nice.
It'll be pretty interesting.
Glam Tram rhymes a lot like some other words we like to.
You were thinking of that too. Okay, at least I'm not the only one that has my head in the gutter.
Yeah. Family show. Well, kinda. We kind of.
I mean, it is after dark.
Oh yeah, after dark. It's after dark. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. This is from Scott Gooston. We here at OG55 we love Scott Gooston. We always try to showcase Scott Gooston's tweets here on the channel. But we got some news today, some pretty big news actually for Tiana's. You know, it's kind of refreshing that it's not, you know, research trip news. That, you know,
I know we got some actual like ride stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So this is really good stuff. So Scott Goosen here says new Tiana's Bayou Adventure opens this summer at Magic Kingdom Park at Walt Disney World. Here's a first look at the first ever Princess Tiana audio animatronic. You can see like a still shot of her here. I mean, I think it looks great, but I'm actually going to play real quick. Oh, you know what? Hold on one sec, boys.
Yeah, honestly, in that video, when I saw Shrita Carter, I got a little scared. I thought it was going to be her on a research trip. So I'm glad she went and talked about the animatronic.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and I'm going to pull this up real quick because I want to play the audio as well. But like, here's the thing with the research trips. I'm not against research trips. I think that they are very beneficial to.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, they have a place, absolutely. You know, the problem that I have with this, in terms of this attraction and the research trips, is that it's very much, it's like the 17th time they brought it up. You know?
You think the ride is the research trip?
You gotta, after a certain point, you gotta start talking about the ride. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. Like, props to them for going down there, experiencing the culture, experiencing New Orleans. That's fantastic. But that's like one video. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just over and over again with that. So, but let's watch this Shrita Carter video. Give me just a second, boys. I'm gonna go ahead and present this to you all.
I will say though, if I had to make a research trip down to New Orleans, I mean, beignets and boobs. You know,
there you go, buddy. There you go. You know what I'm saying?
B&B, as they say.
B&B. George is all about the B&B, aren't you, George? This is funny too because I do a lot.
Some sriracha sauce.
You know what I'm saying, dude? A little spicy. Well, that's what I'm saying, George. That's why I'm surprised because I'm on Bath House Studio a lot with Tones. You know, talking Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is all about the tits and wine, man. You got to get on that franchise, dude.
You haven't seen it? Oh,
I mean, I've seen like several episodes, but I never like really got into the franchise. But no, I think OG gave me some new hope.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Yes. Let's listen to Shrita Carter. And on the other end of this, we'll talk about it because this is interesting.
Hello, you're here. I have something very special to show you. Follow me. Tiana, you are looking good. This will be the very first time that our guests who experience Tiana's Bayou Adventure will be able to meet her. So we can't wait for you to come and experience this attraction. See you in the Bayou, summer of 2024.
There it is.
And I have to say, I mean, I absolutely love the animatronic. I'm so glad that Disney kept their word.
I know
with the like how they were doing the Frozen animatronics at Hong Kong and then the Belle one in Tokyo.
Well, and here's the thing too. The animatronic is very fluid. I mean, I was kind of expecting this. I was kind of expecting. We heard the murmurs, the rumors that this was going to be a very advanced animatronic, and obviously it is, right? Beautiful animatronic. My only complaint when I saw the video was like it looked like she has like gray hair, and I'm like, what's going on? Because she looks old.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, yeah. I saw it. I was like, wow, cool animatronic. But, you know, I don't know if it's the haircut or something, but she looks like Mom Tiana. But I was like, okay, maybe that's what the sequel series is about, but we don't know anything about it. But I'm like, whoa, so like a little shocking. I'm like, whoa, you look like older.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and this is just like me nitpicking. Yeah, I don't know if it's just the lighting inside there that it's like shining, that it's making it look gray.
I think it is, George, because if you look at the picture here, she doesn't look gray at all.
That looks spot on. And then the one down below, the hairstyle is kind of throwing me off, like with that color scheme because of the light. It makes her look older. And then the other thing is too, just as I said, I'm just nitpicking. I find that her face is a little bit more peachy, more round that they have here, where Tiana, I feel like she has a little bit more of a narrow.
Yeah. Yes. I actually just showed my fiance this, her first time ever watching it, and so it was like her face is right and fresh in my mind. So it's like I'm like, whoa, because it certainly is. But maybe they couldn't make the animatronic like that. I don't know, who knows? Maybe the robot can only go like so far, but it is like definitely more like my face.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Simon, what are your thoughts?
Make me Tiana.
What are your thoughts on the Slimer, the animatronic overall, the fluidity, the look of it? Where you stand with this, brother?
I think it looks amazing. I mean, this is a fantastic looking animatronic. I have no qualms with it whatsoever. I can't wait to see it in person. I also think that it might be possible that they make the coloration on the animatronic itself to coordinate with whatever lighting package that they're going to be using wherever they put the animatronic. So it might not look accurate in this lighting environment, but then when you put it in the lighting environment that it's going to be in permanently, then it might have something that's a little bit, more tuned to what we're expecting. But hey, that summer 2024 announcement, I'll tell you right now, Disney's not going to get any credit for opening up a ride early. I'm just going to say it as it is. They're going to get no credit whatsoever. But hey, you know what? They're not here to satisfy people that are nitpickers. You know what I mean? I think that the fact that they're putting in a new ride in the Magic Kingdom can't happen any sooner. Like the timing couldn't be any better. And you can ask George. Last time we were there, it was slammed. So this is coming at the right time. Summer, hopefully early summer.
And it was even
not later summer.
And sorry, bro, not to interrupt you. And it was like even in the Frontierland area, people were coming out of Country Bear Jamboree, and the parade was just ending. And over by where the Liberty Bell boat is, like where you enter in, it was like so bottlenecked, like with crowds of people. So yeah, this is like the perfect time for them to open up a brand new attraction.
And yeah, Summer, you bring up a great point with the lighting too. Like this is like a lot of people are like, a lot of fans are kind of nitpicking this thing to death, but you have to understand this is an animatronic that's under. Hold on, I'm trying to get to it. Okay, there you go. There we go. This is an animatronic that's under fluorescent lighting. Like this is not the lighting package you're going to have on the experience. You know. So people have to understand that, this other picture we see here is probably more close to what you'll see on the attraction. This seems like a little bit more of a show lighting kind of, visual. So I think it looks great, man. And I don't know about Florida. I've never been on Splash Mountain in Florida, so I can't speak on that. But I've been on the one here in California quite a bit. The animatronics are, at least out here in California, are not like super like good. Like I mean, a lot of them, like the Brer Rabbit and all that,
like that.
They look like stuffed animals to me. And this is light years beyond what we have already. So,
and I mentioned this before too. Both Splash Mountains were very different as far as the way that the ride kind of flows. Yeah, no pun intended.
Because yours over there is much slower.
It's more like with the one in Florida, it was more that you're reading the scenes as you're passing by, where the one in California, you're basically moving into the scene. So I'm very curious to see what the track layout for how each show building is, of how they incorporate the storyline to actually fit the track layout.
I want to ask you guys. I'll start with you, George, and I'll work my way down. But like, okay, so you've seen the Tiana animatronic. Obviously, I think everyone pretty much is impressed with this. I mean,
absolutely.
Not too much.
I'm so glad they stayed away from the projection mapping.
The
disaster.
Well, and that's the thing too. It is the thing. Imagineering, they get a lot of shit for that. Oh man, the projection faces, and I get it. They're not the best, but I at least give credit to them for trying new things. And hey, it didn't work out, right? But like, okay, so you try new things, it didn't work out, and you evolve and you change and you do what works.
And really quick, to Imagineering's credit, it works well with the Seven Dwarfs. For Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. When you bring it to the characters such as Frozen, it loses translation.
It's a technology that you have to use appropriately for certain situations. Go ahead, Slimer. I'm sorry, brother.
No, and what I was going to say is people have really short-term memory, because when that face projection technology came out, everybody was talking about how impressive it was. I remember seeing for the first time Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I was just like, wow, this is like really next gen. And it was very impressive. And everybody that I know that went to ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train was also impressed with the projection map facing. It wasn't until we started to realize that the technology was faulty, and that once those bulbs started to have issues, and then the faces started to have issues, that's when people started complaining about them. But up until that point, there was no complaints. As a matter of fact, there was nothing but praise for Imagineering for coming up with something new in terms of animatronics. And like George said, the faces work perfectly in Seven Dwarfs Mine Train because of the dark lighting in the mines. It's almost necessary for them to have projection faces. Otherwise, if you use something like this, you would have to change the lighting in such a way that it was no longer inside of a mine cave. It would be too illuminated. So I just wanted to point that a little bit out. The projection faces were awesome, but they have a short lifespan, and that's the problem with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well said. And it all depends on the application and what characters and what scene it's being incorporated in. But at least the Imagineers have that in their back pocket. If the proper scenario arises, they can utilize that. But for this, I think they made the right decision with the fleshed out faces.
Sorry, OG, what was your question?
Oh, I want to ask you guys. Okay, so now that we've seen the Tiana animatronic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has this encouraged you? Not encouraged you? Are you neutral, or is it even worse? Where do you stand right now with Tiana's? I'll start with you, George, and I'll go down to Wizard and then Slimer.
Actually, believe it or not, I started having positive optimism actually a little bit before Tiana. It was actually seeing the Lewis audio animatronic, and we didn't even get to see him in full form yet. You know, we got to see a little taste of him as they were kind of building him and everything. And when I saw the scale of that audio animatronic just of Lewis, and I thought, wow, okay, like this is like, okay, we're kind of getting into the the details of this attraction now. And now actually seeing Tiana in like full skin, wardrobe, everything, her movement as an audio animatronic, I can honestly say my positivity of optimism has increased. And also too, I believe now, I don't know if Disney officially announced this yet, but I think they did. That there's also going to be audio animatronics of Mama Odie and some of the other characters from the film, as on top of some critters that are into the bayou. So I mean, right. It may not be the same amount of number of animatronics that was in Splash Mountain, but the fact that we're getting audio animatronics just in general and not just having everything on a screen, you know, I commend Disney for that. So to answer your question, OG, it started with Lewis, but it definitely heightened especially after today.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'm actually kind of neutral, believe it or not. Because I kind of expected her to be kind of top notch. I've been saying it for like, I feel like I was expecting her to be like, because I was thinking the Belle animatronic from Tokyo, so this didn't move the needle for me. But I'm still very optimistic. I do think this attraction is going to be better than people think it will be, to be honest. But this particular animatronic didn't move the needle for me because I was expecting it to be pretty top notch. But Wizard, what are your thoughts, brother? Are you kind of more optimistic, less optimistic, more neutral? Where do you stand with this?
No, I must say I think I'm neutral too, because I did expect it to be pretty awesome. But I'm glad that that we'll be seeing multiple of hers. Actually, I'm more optimistic, but I'm not more optimistic because of this. I'm more optimistic earlier, like George, but not from the Lewis animatronic. I'm more optimistic from when I heard what the mist was going to be used for, because Sharita Carter didn't explain it well herself. So when I heard the rumors of where the mist is going to be used, how it's going to be used to transform you into like a critter and then transform you back to a human, almost like kind of like the Minions, right, type of thing. And it's only going to be used in like 2 places. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes more sense now. She just made it seem like there's going to be random mist. You're just going through magic mist with no purpose. But now I see the mist seems to have a purpose. So it makes sense and makes the story makes more sense. So that's the moment I got more optimistic. I'm like, okay, it seems like they kind of know what they're doing, not just throwing random stuff in. I do hope they use since there are a few animatronics, almost like for the 2 people here have been on the Secret Life of Pets. They have the animatronics, but they use like projection mapping or screens to kind of help the scene. I hope that's in there in Splash Mountain, because I do like those screens, like when the animatronics in the forefront, but then maybe like they have the screen like projection mapping in the back to help.
And Secret Life of Pets does that really well. I mean, they know how to incorporate that where it's almost seamlessly, like where you can't really, you don't really stop to say, okay, this is the audio animatronics, and then this
Mhm.
is on the LED screen. When you look at it,
Yeah,
you see
like
it as a whole.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope
Do
they
they-
do the art view where I hope they do that in Splash Mountain because that would be perfect, really, in my opinion.
Let me ask you this, Wizard. In Secret Life of Pets, do they do it just as good as in the Navi River Journey, or does Navi River Journey behind Secret Life of
Ooh,
Pets in
okay.
terms of that?
Oh, that's a good question.
I guess I'll give a half answer and then I'll ask George because I haven't been on Navi. I only seen videos, so I don't really judge. I don't want to judge on the video, but in fact, I haven't seen the video in such a long time. I know they do it pretty good, and I think Navi River Journey has more like practical like trees and stuff.
Mhm.
So they win there. So I'm not sure actually about the screens because I don't because I remember seeing all the practical stuff. But George, what do you think?
So for me, that was actually a really good question.
Yeah, it was.
I really like Navi River Journey. I really do. But I absolutely love Secret Life of Pets. And for me, the shaman in River Journey is phenomenal. Like that AA is like
Never heard.
just to actually see that in person. Like I mean,
Yeah.
you'd actually think, that thing is like alive and real.
Right.
But I feel like it was almost a detriment to the ride itself because I feel like all the funds went into just that one animatronic that everything else kind of like fell short. Where with
Yeah.
Secret Life of Pets, you get a little bit of everything. You get that storyline, you get the set props, you get the LED screens, you get all the audio animatronics, and the queue line for Secret Life of Pets. You could just walk through the queue and then walk through the emergency exit, and you could still be just as satisfied. Really.
Well, and not to cut you off real quick, George, but the brilliant thing about the queue for Secret Life of Pets is that they use the furniture in the apartment to guide you through the queue. And it's absolutely brilliant. So you don't have like the chains and all that.
Backs and everything because it's just like
that was pure
couches
genius.
and kitchens and
So I have to say,
Yeah.
Navi River Journey, I really do like. I wish that they could have incorporated more than just the one audio animatronic. But yeah, so I would it's just the one.
Okay, I wasn't
the one.
sure from the video. I thought maybe there's smaller ones or something.
Yeah, so I have to say, Secret Life kind of takes the cake on that one.
Yeah. But I do have to say, George, next time we go on Secret Life of Pets, you're gonna have to buy me a drink afterwards. We were getting kind of close there, buddy.
Yeah, we they do. They have it a little bit. They have a little bit close, and you're kind of like, and they lock you in, man. Like when they push that, like it's like when they close it, it's like they push it down, man. It's like I really wanted to tell like the team member, it's like you do realize what's down there, right?
I'm a he him.
Exactly. So it's interesting. Yeah, this whole Tiana thing, I'm kind of hoping for kind of like what we saw with like the Snow White kind of renovation at Disneyland.
Mhm.
Where-
Oh yeah, that too. That'd be cool.
Yeah, like
That's
that,
kinda like that same thing going on with the pets. That the screen kind of helps out the scene, but the animatronics at the forefront, the practical stuff's the forefront. The screen helps everything else.
Exactly. There's a way to sort of incorporate both technologies where the screens enhance the physical sets. And I think that the Universal ride, Wizard, that I think I had you on actually. We were talking about that Universal ride. I think it was in Beijing with the
Jurassic World. Yeah, the whole thing. The screen again helps out really the forefront. Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly. That's what I'm kind of hoping with Tiana's is that they kind of do that. My only worry with Tiana's, I think that the visuals will be beautiful. I have no doubt about that. My only concern with Tiana's is the whole co-op salt mine thing. I hope they don't get too kind of tied up in story knots where it's kind of overly complicating it, because some of the best attractions at Disney or just in general, really simplistic kind of concepts, like Big Thunder, one of the most popular attractions at Disney, is basically you're just a train going through the Southwest. You have Space Mountain. You're just in a rocket in fucking outer space. There's not a whole lot of complexity there. You know what I'm saying? If start to if we get in the queue for Tiana's and it's this over explanation of the co-op and the salt mine and the missing ingredient, that's gonna be, I think, an issue for me.
And that's where I do appreciate the Navi River Journey, because it's more. I take that ride as a sensory type of ride where it's just there's no real actual storyline to
No.
it. It's basically you're just touring Pandora, and you're
Right.
using all your senses, your sight, the sounds, and you're just kind of like being in the ambiance of like
Right.
the bioluminescent
Right.
forest. So that I actually do appreciate from
Yeah, and in
Navi
that sense,
River.
it's really old fashioned because it's more akin to the ride style of Pirates of the Caribbean or the Haunted Mansion, where there is no real official narrative. Like you make the narrative as you go, and as you get older and ride the rides again and again and again, you see things that are new, or you might come up with different theories as to what's going on, and the fan base kind of creates this narrative around these stories, which they're just fun to explore from like from just like a cerebral perspective, and I like that too. And OG, I agree with you, like not everything needs to have like a prep and hey, this is what's going on and stuff like that. Just sometimes just let the imagination flow, and you fill in the gaps and you tell your own story as you're riding that ride. But with regard to this ride and how I think they can make an improvement from Navi River Journey, being that they're both boat rides. Navi River Journey, while it's great, it takes too much energy to try to impress the people that are on the ride. Like it's really like I like that it's immersive, but it doesn't try to be fun, and that's the problem with that ride for me. So I hope that this ride focuses more so on being fun and not trying to impress the guests with, hey, look at this and hey, look at that, because at the end of the day, that just doesn't have the staying power that a fun ride does. You know what I mean?
Well said.
What was your take on Navi, OG? Because we went on it the second day of Animal Kingdom.
We did, yeah. No, I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. I mean, a cerebral experience. Like it was almost like, I mean, not to get too morbid, but it was almost like I passed. It was almost like I passed away, and I was like kind of going through the afterlife experience. It was such a wild. And actually, I felt the same way with Flight of Passage. It kind of blew my mind. No, I'm telling you, I fell in love with Animal Kingdom. I fell in love with Pandora. Both attractions in Pandora were top notch for me. I love that, and I like the fact that the Navi River Journey takes its time. It's a slow burn. You just kind of go through. There's no big story. There's not. You just go through it, and it's just pretty. And I like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very very Pirates-esque.
Very.
So apparently in OG's world, for his afterlife is being approached by a 12-foot blue woman.
Yes, exactly.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Diggity, diggity, diggity.
Handing out religion and magic mushrooms.
A 12-foot blue woman from Korea.
There we go.
There you go.
Exactly. There we go. That's exactly, Wizards. Exactly. Now, I want to ask you guys too before we take off today. I want to ask you guys, because this is the elephant in the room. Everyone's talking about it. Her outfit. Her outfit.
That's the elephant in the room.
Oh, dude. Hey, apparently on Twitter it is. Everyone's talking about the outfit. I'll let you just start, George, with the outfit. What do you think, man?
Actually, believe it or not, I really didn't have any problems with the outfit. I never took 2 seconds of it now that I'm actually looking at, but man, God, is that ugly. But anyway, I'm kidding. It's okay. I mean, it's nothing. I don't know. I guess it was a little bit different in the original concept, but I guess they had her more in a. I mean, I guess you could kind of, like a safari. It kind of still has that look, but it seems like they kind of lightened it up a bit with some vibrant colors and what have you. But I don't really have a really too much of an issue with it, to be honest.
I don't either, and I'll go to you Wizard, in a second. But I don't either, and the reason being is a lot of people want her in the dress, but wouldn't it be weird if you're riding the ride and she's in a full ball gown sitting on a log? It's a little bit off. It doesn't fit the environment. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I really honestly didn't have a problem with the outfit. I guess I never really looked at the outfit because I guess I didn't really have a problem with it.
So what you're saying, George, is you're not one of these people that watches the Golden Globes and dishes about all the different outfits.
Yeah, no. I don't watch the pre-red carpet.
Oh my God! Did you see what Lindsay Lohan was wearing, George? Oh my God!
Everybody's a Joan Rivers now.
Yeah,
exactly.
like I didn't make the cut
Wow.
for Fashion Police.
What are you wearing? What are you wearing?
Oh my god, white after Labor Day? My god. That whole thing. But Wizard, what are your thoughts on the outfit, brother?
Honestly, I think I like this one more than the safari thing and the concept.
I
art.
agree.
That doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to me. I mean, you're not going on safari. Now I do wish because the rumored finale scenes. She's all in they're all in New Orleans celebrating. So it would be nice to see in her little gown then. But if she's not going to be in it, I don't care. I mean, I do care, I guess, because I do like this one better than the safari one because this one looks like she's just going out, not going on some African safari because she's not in Africa. So.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a great point, Wizard. You make there, or like maybe in the finale scene. I think the finale scene is like the New Orleans kind of like that celebration, the party.
Mhm.
Maybe then you can put her in the
down. Like I like it there, but if she's not in it, that's okay too. But it's the only thing I can't believe that's the thing. Just her hair. I get it. She wants a little trim and wants to be all professional. I wish it was longer, but that's personally because I just like girls with long hair. So that's a me thing.
Well, no, I completely understand. No, in the movie, I haven't seen the movie in a long time. I got to be completely honest. But was her hair longer in the movie, or was it about this length? Do we know?
It wasn't.
Oh, gee, you should be watching. I got it on in the background.
It wasn't too much longer, but I think it was like at least to her shoulder. But
I would think, I don't know, like, because she never actually really had it styled. She had it done, I think.
It was like
if when she was like sleeping and stuff, and then she kind of like pulled it up in a bun like really fast.
Yeah.
But I guess even after time, as the movie went on, she could have went to the salon and got it styled, for her big debut.
Yeah, exactly. Slimer, what are your thoughts on the outfit, brother?
Well, I like it. I have. Who are you wearing today? Sorry, I love Joan Rivers, and like I can't stop thinking about her on the red carpet.
Oh man! Oh, it's Slimer. Is this a Vera Wang we're looking at here? Is this a Vera Wang?
Yeah. God, Joan Rivers was a funny woman. No, I love it. It actually ties in with the Frontierland thing, so it blends in nicely. So anybody that has any issues with whether this is going to tie into the land or not, and again, like I was talking with George, we were there. Frontierland is going to demarcated differently. Like I hope people realize that this is not Frontierland anymore. Like, sorry, this is now New Orleans, and it's going to show up as such on the map. I can almost guarantee you that. And Frontierland is now going to be basically from like Country Bear Jamboree down the bridge to Thunder Mountain, and then they're going to demarcate it off, and you're going to have a new Frontierland. So, new Frontierland aside, I think this is great. I have no problems with it. That's all I'm going to say on that. But let me ask you this, guys.
Just a bunch of dudes talking,
About
fashion.
dresses.
You know what I'm saying, dude? Just a couple dudes talking fashion. Go ahead, Slimer. I'm sorry, brother.
Let me ask you this.
In Safari.
Yeah. Safaris. I see what you did there. So Splash Mountain has one of the most epic outro songs of all time. This has to have an outro song. It has to be, you're almost there, right? Like if they don't have that song, is that a missed opportunity or
right there? That's what I'm concerned of. I'm like, because they keep saying this original music stuff, and I'm not saying
right
make good original music. I mean, I love them. Nothing Can Stop Us Now. It's quite a headbanger there. But as again, I just watched the movie, and there's so many great songs. I'm like, hopefully one of them's represent. I think, but then D23 came, and they said there'll be renditions of some of those songs. So it got me a little bit hopeful there, because I'm like, oh, thank gosh, because I don't get nothing. So I hope there's like a rendition of some iconic song, like Almost There, Going Down the Bay or something.
Right.
Even not exactly, like if they just remix it, as long as you can tell what it is. What's one of them? Like, I'll be happy.
Well, I think they confirmed and I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Oh my God, that's Mama Odie. You are watching it.
Yeah, I had it on the back. I gotta stay on brand. I don't know if it was Going Down the Bayou or if it was Almost There, because Anika Noni Rose came out and performed, and a lot of people were kind of like head scratching themselves, thinking like, okay, they said it was going to be original music, but why is she singing songs from the movie? So I don't know if they're incorporating it. Maybe they're not actually incorporating in the ride, but as Slammer said, I wonder if they're incorporating it in the queue and the exit.
I kind of hope they use my hope is that Going Down the Bayou is like the main track for the attraction, because it just makes the most sense.
Because you're going down the bayou.
You're going down the bayou. So I would hope the main track is Going Down the Bayou, like Zippity Doo Dah was the main track for Splash Mountain. But then it would kind of weave into other stuff like Laughing Place and stuff, right? So I think Going Down the Bayou should be the main track. And then as you pass certain scenes, maybe it kind of weaves into like other music. But that main kind of, tone should be
I would hope with Tiana actually ending up with Naveen in the end, I would hope she's almost there. There you go.
Later on in the bedroom, she could be almost there in other ways.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying.
Nothing can stop us now.
I forgot to mention one upgrade to our Splash Mountain, at least it seems. Right, OG, that this looks like they're closing in our Slip and Falls drop like in Disney World, which is pretty cool. Like, that's cool. Like, that's a needed upgrade there. I'm like,
what do you mean? What do you mean by Slip and Falls drop?
Okay, so our Slip and Falls drop is like outdoors here. You just go on and then it's an outdoor drop. But it looks like from the construction photos, they're enclosing the drop to make it indoors instead of outdoors like it is now. And I think that's a really cool idea.
Okay,
really.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Wizard, because I actually have some questions, and I think I brought this up on previous shows.
Well, yeah, we did that. We did the show with Danny from Five Fires,
right?
And we talked about it with him.
My concern more so with Disneyland's version of the ride. Now, obviously, I'm assuming when the ride opens, they're going to do a virtual queue. Which anyone who knows me knows how I feel about virtual queues.
He loves them. He absolutely loves them.
I do. Like, I just stand there waiting to get in a line for virtual queue.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's all about getting in line to get in line, dude. You'd love it, man. You'd love it, dude.
It's like that South Park episode. It's like when they're at the Cow Days Fair. It's like they're in line, and it's like they got their picture taken actually standing in line, and that was the attraction. So my concern is, and as I said, I think I brought this up before, is if it is a virtual queue and someone gets into the virtual queue and they don't necessarily get to ride it up in, like, say 7:30, 8 o'clock, with it being a water ride, a lot of people may not want to get wet that late. But then it's like they still want to enjoy the ride. So I'm curious to know how Disney is going to handle that. And then my second part to that is with Disneyland's version, when you guys go down the inside drop, where Brer Bear's butt was on top,
where I get soaked every time.
You get soaked. Like, I mean, that the whole log fills up with water. So I'm curious to know, are they going to kind of alter that as well, or is it going to stay the same?
Now, George, I just want to say, you said you're not sure how many people want to get wet that late. Well, I know that the Blue Shaman, the Korean Blue Shaman for OP, would love to get wet that late.
Damn, I didn't know we were going there tonight, Wizard. Okay. Hold on. Let me switch gears here.
Giggity, giggity.
Absolutely. All right. Hello, Tim. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, George. What were you asking?
The only questions George asks is, do you want to get late tonight?
It seems like honestly, like the two words that are like part of my vocabulary nowadays is either the words "wet" or "cum." You know, it's like it's I don't know.
Pretty much, dude.
That's it.
Here we go.
We're Disney for adults.
Yeah.
Officially.
So I guess what you could say if you're coming down the bayou, how wet do you usually
Want to get? Yeah, no. I in terms of like the splash factor, so to speak. I don't think they're gonna alter that. I really don't. I think that's fine. I think they're gonna be fine with that. In my opinion. I mean,
and then as far as what do you think as with like the virtual queue that if there are people?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the virtual queue is an issue, but like, well, it's tough, man. You're right, because if it's like it's at 12 in the afternoon and you get the virtual queue because you think like, okay, we're going in the afternoon, but then your return time is 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
It's different, California. It's cold at night. It's hot in the day. It could be an issue. It could be. I don't know. I don't know how they fix that though. What do they do? Do they not do that virtual
not make
queue?
A virtual queue, yeah. Let people wait in a. I mean, well, look. What's weird about Disney World is that I don't understand what their. I don't understand what their selection process is for what ride classifies as a virtual queue and doesn't. Because Slinky Dog Dash has a 120-minute wait. I've seen Star Wars rides up to 220 minutes. I've seen Slinky Dog Dash go up to 220 minutes. So how come those don't have a virtual queue?
Yeah, that's true.
Like if they're letting those rides go up to 2-3 plus hours,
And that's what I'm saying. Like me, I would just open up the standby line. It's like if someone's willing to wait that long and it happens to be at 8 o'clock, then you know what? That's their decision that they wanted to stay in line.
Right.
Honestly, yeah. Like I was saying in a prior show, I think the virtual queue should be an option for people that are really highly regimented with their day, but not necessarily something that you have to do. Because, for example, when I was in Hollywood Studios over the weekend, we had bought Genie Plus. It was my second time getting Genie Plus ever, and I wanted to do it. I was like, all right, it's kind of busy today because it was the national cheerleading competitions were in Disney World. Holy shit, was traffic terrible in Disney World, man. Like, dude, we would get on the exit to like go into Hollywood Studios, and we were sitting in traffic for 30 minutes. Like, it was crazy. Like just to get in the exit. So it was very busy. But yeah, we ran into that situation with the Genie Plus where like at 3-4 o'clock, we had to wait 3-4 hours to finally get a slot to ride a ride. And me and Chrissy just eventually looked at each other, just like, bump that. Like, let's go. Like, this is ridiculous. So yeah, like I can't imagine, paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for your family and then having to do that. Like, no fucking way.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
No fucking way.
Exactly. We'll see how it pans out. I'm very, very curious. We have a timeline now, right? We got summer, at least for Disney World. I don't think they gave any details on Disneyland. Disneyland, obviously, they're not going to be ready by the summer because I
think Disneyland is going to be the late 2024, like around the holiday season.
Which is fine because you guys have the attractions at Disneyland. Like Disney World, you take 2 attractions away, man, and that place that place goes into like the purge mode,
Purge mode, exactly. Exactly. Now, George, I want to ask you. You're an Italian, right?
Yeah.
You're the Italian.
Yes.
So, are you going to be rocking the sweatband when you're going on Tiana's Bayou Adventure?
Yeah, buddy.
Is that going to be you, man?
Opening day. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
There you go. That's George. But fellas, it was a pleasure and an honor talking shop with you guys today. Universal, Ghostbusters, Universal. I mean, really a smart decision. You double, triple down on Ghostbusters. I think it's a really good idea. And then Tiana's Bayou Adventure, some really good news there. We're finally past the research trip era, which is amazing. So that is awesome. But guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Comment down below with all your questions, concerns, opinions, hate comments, whatever you want. Whatever you want. Just post them down below.
What are you wearing? What are you wearing tonight?
What are you wearing? So I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. OG 55. Subscribe.
세상은 누구에게나 공평하게 추악해.